Okay, so let's see if this time it's actually working everything, because it's like third time that I'm trying to record this without having weird problems. So we are in game creator, install inventory example, and we choose the loot chest scene, which is this scene over here. Let's play it and show you. So whenever I take items from a chest, I want over here on my right to show me what I take from here. Okay, so let's see how we do that. If this time it will work and it will not do any other weird stuff. So we create first a canvas, since we want to see it on the right, and in the canvas UI scroll view, and is this scroll view, we put it here on the right side, and we resize this to the size that we want, like this. But we don't want to see that on our screen, like those white stuff. So we just disable the image, disable the scroll rect because we don't need that, and we disable the horizontal and vertical bar. Then we go in the viewport content, and this is the box, but we will need this box much more high, because items at one moment it will get many, and the log history it will have to have space where to actually finish. um, oh shit, the battery on my mouse is going off now. Okay, let me see. right right when everything should probably working, the battery of the mouse. Okay, see if this have a very thick cable. Anyway, um, so we create the content over there, and we want to see something. Text Mesh Pro we will choose. We want to see something like that over here. Okay, let me choose another font, like for example Robot Light. Robot Light, it's a little bit too much. Maybe regular, medium. Yep. Okay, so something like that. We're not gonna give the measurements now, but the problem is that these things has to get by themselves uh, sorted. So we choose a vertical layout. Vertical means like this, okay, from top to bottom, and we want to control the width height besides the height over here. And this is because whenever it's gonna get duplicated, as you see over there, is getting like that. Okay, now shift, let's delete these ones. Then this we will create a prefab. You can actually change the design of it later, but for now it's just the functionality. Okay, and this one, let's create a prefab. So what we want with this, we want with this whenever appear, so we create a trigger on enable. It will be whenever it's gonna get instantiated over here in our content to do something. So it will do something like set text. To set the text, UI text of self from a global variable, which we didn't create. Let's create a global variable, name variable, and we call it loot log. Now loot log over here, we will choose a string and we will call it loot. Now we go back and we want to set the text on this one on self from a global variable. And we choose for the loot log and we choose loot. So until it will choose the text that we're writing over there. But when when it's gonna do that, when it's gonna get instantiated over here. So how we do that? We go in the content, let's add another trigger, and we say on add on player to instantiate and we want to instantiate a game object, which it will be this prefab over here on the location of self. Now this location is very important because if you put this trigger somewhere else, you need to give the location of this content. The same for the parent. Let's put the parent game object, and we choose the content. Might create some problems if I'm not mistaken, but anyway, trust me, do it like this. So we said when we add an item on the player to instantiate that, and that item, which is this one, it will show us that text. Then we will wait for like some seconds, let's say 4 seconds, and then we get destroy this text, and we choose self. Okay, now let's override the changes. Let's create the logic for inventory add. So over here we will create on add set string, set text, set with set the global variable. So we have to set the global variable over there, loot log, and we want to set this text with what text? With the text of the item name, but not any item name, but the last that we added to the inventory. So on add this one, it will automatically it will change the text over here, and then in the same time this one it will instantiate that prefab on our content, and this one it will show the loot from over there on enable. It will wait for 4 seconds and it will get destroyed. So let's see if everything is working. Now over here is just showing us mana potion, health potion, since in the inventory we added from the start a stock. So let's go now and open our inventory chest, and I want to take a health potion, and it's showing mana potion, health potion, health potion, health potion, health potion, and so on. And as we can see, it's getting destroyed, and very cool, huh? Now the position, the text, the design, that's on you. Now the problem until here it's solved, but what it will happen if we actually take all the chest? Like over here is having a button and it says take all. As we can see over here is showing us health potion, health potion, health potion. Okay, now we don't really want to show us like that, because if we take entire chest it would be a long log, and we didn't actually choose it one by one. That option, the first one, is only by one. So for doing that, we go over here while we are in runtime, and we see that this canvas that is on the chest is this one, okay? And we have background, window, frame, scroll, viewport, and over here in the content is actually the content over here. Now on the footer, which is at the bottom, we have the button take all, and it's having this action. Now the original action doesn't have set text and variable. This is something that I changed and I will upload it. I will upload on the hub of Game Creator. But when you actually press this button with my action, it will show how many items per you took in one single click. But in the same time, it will show even the item by himself solo, as you saw over there. So for not having that problem, we have to first disable uh, um, one option. So that option, it will be to disable um, the canvas, this one. Okay, but the entire canvas, we don't really want to disable the entire canvas. So what we can do actually is to give a signal. Let's use it like with signal. So for doing that, let's go back and I will show you what I mean, why I want to go back. Now this is the default loot, and as we can see over here on the image, this is the image, the canvas UI default loot. Now we have to find this in the project. So for finding this, you go in the project and you just type over here UI underline default loot, and here it is. You take it from here and you drop it in your hierarchy. In this way you can see it. Okay, so this is the prefab. We can change it however we want. I had it already over here, but I'm gonna delete it anyway. So we go down and we expand everything and we find the footer and we find the button tag. Now when we do this action, we want to set to send a signal emit signal, and let's say one stock loot and we put it to the preference, and then we can do our mambo jumbo over here. But in the same time, this signal have to give some meaning to this other thing, and we can do it in many things, like for example on enable to check conditions. Actually no, because the condition it will be too much for everyone. We will change this one on the content, so it will be a trigger on signal receive, and when it will receive the signal we said we had something with stack loot. Okay, to disable component, and we want to disable component. I don't know if I can do it like this. Nope. The best thing to do this is to go in another object, the one that is here parent. So we will do that here. So a trigger on signal receive stack load we want this content over here and disable the trigger. Okay, and at that point it will disable that trigger and it will not instantiate this game object, but then it will have to actually enable back. So this is the thing that we have to actually change this stack loot. We have to actually first get it off from the here, and we have to say off. So this it will be back on the button tag here. This it will change stack loot off. Doesn't have a meaning because this is actually when we take it on, but anyway. And then we want to copy this and paste it back down here before it's getting disabled. We want to create another one which it will be on, and we get back to the viewport and we create another trigger like this one. And guess what we will do here on stack loot on, it will actually enable the component. Enable component. Now there is other options. You can do two contents, and you can actually activate one for the single item and the other one for the stack item loot. But for this example, I will just choose it like this. So whenever we stack, we loot as a stack, it will set off the content trigger over here. In this way, this it will not instantiate the single item, and then it will automatically, after we loot stack, it will send a signal back to enable it. Now, the other thing that we need is to create a trigger that it will instantiate our text with what we loot on stack. But for not getting confused, let's test until here if it's actually working and is not showing over here on the right side when we loot all the chests in one button. For example, now I'm taking the health potion and it's showing, but if I take all, it was supposed not to show it. So something is not working. Let me see again. Hmm. Well, in that case, we actually choose the set active, not active, and we create two content. Let's see. It's not the best, I might say. This one we can remove. Actually, no, we can leave it like that, but we disable this. So we say set active actually over here. Yeah, I think at this point we actually get it that I didn't reach with other tries up to here. So yeah, I had other problems until here. Set active. Back. Now we go back to the button table and probably we can give 0.5 before it's closing. It's gonna be like, can even increase to 1 actually. No, 1 is gonna be a little bit too much to close a window. There are many ways to do this. We can create it by conditions, but I want to be fast. So the button tag, now I believe it was working even before, but you know why it was not working? Because I forgot to do this. I forgot to go here and do the override. I'm pretty sure I forgot that. You can watch the video back and try that. Let's see. Take all. So over here is working. You know what? I'm not creating another content, which is making me get confused. I will try back with disable component from here. It will be the trigger. There is only one trigger, and this one enable component. And it will be the trigger. So now this one it's the same. Let's see. Yep, that was the trick. Okay, now we got this function working, and let's check if the trigger is getting back on. Okay, but we want, in this case, we can actually delete this. We want to instantiate another text prefab with what we actually need, with the log from that. Now, on our loot log, we will create another one, and this one it will be loot stack. Okay. Now we go on UI default loot, which is this one. We go to the button table, and over here on my action, we will choose the global variable, no, the loot log, and we will choose the loot stack. Okay, over there we will set that text. And let's not forget to override the change. Till here, all good. Now, um, since we actually pushing this button and we emit a signal loot off, we can do something else. We can actually instantiate we can instantiate with the trigger over here on signal on receive signal, and that it will be stack loot off. We want to instantiate this game object, which is text. I didn't change the name of location. In this case, we will put game object content and parent game object here. Um, Now, the problem is that this one, it says on enable, it will do this. But on enable, we can check some conditions. Let's see. This it will get very agglomerated. If signal hmm, Mhm. Well, I wanted to actually use the same thing, but you know what? It's not the best solution. We will just duplicate this. Control D. If you are on Mac, if you use Control D, it's gonna create a problem. Now this one we will say loot single item log, and this one look stock items loot stock items log. Okay, now the look stock items on enable, it will actually show the loot stock and then destroy himself. Okay, let's see if that works. So these are the single one, loot single item log. Now we go on our and we press take all, and it's showing that. Hmm, health potion Y. Okay, I think I know why, because this one is not enough big. Um, hmm, let's try that again. We have to change the dimension of that, but we have to know how big it has to be. So for that, I mean over here we didn't test with all the items to see the names. So let's do it like that. Take all and we do a pause, and let's see what it's saying over here. Only health potion is saying. But it says loot single item. Nope, wasn't that. So probably this one. Ah, here it is the problem. We put on signal receive stack lot off to instantiate this. We forgot to actually change it to loot stack. Okay, okay, we get in there, we get in there. This video it's already long by now, I am very sure, but take all, and for some reason is still not showing. See why? Saving a problem somewhere. To pause a second to see where is the problem. So let's see what it says here. It says nothing. Okay, it says nothing, but it's the right on load stock. Now, this is because it's taking too much time to send the text on the variable. So this one, the loot stock item over here, is doing it too fast, which means that we have to add another time above and give it like about 1 second. Let's try with 1 second uh, to take the time to actually be displayed on the global variable and then on our UI. Let's say this time take all, and yeah, for a second it shows new text. We have to give it a little bit more time. Little bit more time. Let's see. We go here, back, and we give 1.5, and we delete the new text. Just put 1 point to be sure for now. Still showing the point over there if you saw. Let's go to 2 seconds. This is the time of the signal, probably is not the best choice. But we don't have other options. Let's see. Still show those 2 seconds. That point over there. Hmm. Okay, let's go much more. 2 seconds is a little bit too much. 4 seconds it's extraordinary, I might say, pathetic. So it's not because of that. The point still showing. This means that it's just giving an example of it. So is actually instantiating an example of it, is not the one. Is doing that and means that we actually can take it like this and leave this 0. The problem it will be if you have a design of the actually box. I will avoid it. It can be even other ways to do this, but at the moment I'm not thinking too much. So now actually is the time problem. Now we actually need to add a time here. About 1 time. So now it's working. In the other example, I made something to actually change that. Let me see. I had a global variable and I had a log text. If I give it a second, exactly like here. Hmm, okay. Now this is all good. As you saw over there, it's showing how many let's do it again. It's showing how many health potion and mana potion we actually taken from the chest over here. But when we take single ones like this one, it doesn't show per one, like over here per one. So how we do that, since in my action it's actually doing it per one, per how many there are. um, well, in that case we can go back on the single item log, this one here, and we will choose another one which will be join, and we want to join the global variable which is single item load log, and then we want to add a string per one like this. Okay, and in this case this one we don't need it, we want the text over here, and self is the same like the other one, only that it will put at the end per one. It's just give over there a little bit more of favor. So as you can see, per one, per one, per one. Now we go over here, let's see. We take one and two, and then we take all, and now it should show health potion per nine. Now the design about the text, the space between all these things, it's up on you to play with it. As about the action that is making to show in the stack, move from UI on the stack. Now on this one, remember that you have to choose from which bag, and there is an option from bag UI. I had a problem here. I didn't knew why my action was not working, because there is actually an option from bag UI, and you have to add the UI default. Now this one, it's called move content with log. Move content to bag with log, and since I didn't actually upload it, I will upload now to the game creator, and you can actually see it on the game creator hub, and it should be over there. This is the entire action over there, and you can change in the action if you want. For example, on this one, text holder, you can change how the text to be over there. Like for example, I put per how many items and so on. If not, you can leave it like that. Well, that was a long video. Have fun.